Hi, my name's Lofty and I bounty hunt other players in Star Citizen. My week started out like all good weeks do, sneaking around with a simple goal: infiltrate a massive, expensive target. Specifically, a Polaris parked at a planetary alignment facility on Daymar. I did the usual bounty hunter thing, got out and gave it a good long hard stare, and then wisely decided that an immediate frontal assault was just too easy. No, I needed to go for the dramatic approach, land on the roof and break into the hangar. So I flew over, perched myself right in the nose like a really expensive, heavily armed pigeon. I was ready, I was focused, and then, before I could even take a deep breath and shank my way in with a knife, laser fire rained down on the ship. And the entire multi-million credit vessel was vaporised. My best guess? A Colossus bomb or some Eclipse pilot had the same idea, but just with less finesse. The next thing I knew, my body was having a truly humbling experience. I was falling, straight through the non-existent floor and tumbling inside the wreckage like spare change in a washing machine. Just as I was contemplating my life choices, the wreck somehow launched itself into Daymar's upper atmosphere. And just to put a nice little bow on it, we all got a final farewell gift. Thanks, I guess. Alright, so you know the drill. Grim Hex is basically the universe's most popular hunting lodge, and if you've got a criminal record, stepping outside of the main station is just a polite invitation for a bounty hunter to ruin your day. Anyway, I spotted my first target, followed him straight into the hangar, and decided to issue a very professional, very polite warrant for his arrest. Put your hands up. Told you to put your hands up. Naturally, he decided to channel his inner space cowboy and drew down on me and forced my hand. I really had no choice but to ensure he wouldn't be leaving the station, ever. Justice served and credits earned. This second guy, he was just as predictable. I tracked him down to a waiting Pisces. So I don't always like just taking people out straight away inside the hangar. You know, I've done a lot of these bounties, so it quickly becomes very boring unless I'm just after the credits. And to be honest, I like to see what these people are up to. You know, so unless they're just going to get straight into a single-seater ship like an Arrow, I'll try and sneak aboard their ship as well. Hello, mate. How you doing? It's a real shame, friend. I figured I'd better neutralise the threat before he even got wheels up and escapes my grasp. Mission accomplished, the hangar secured.
Landing gear raised.
Now I was thinking, I should take that little Pisces for a spin, but before I could even plant myself in the seat, the teleporters kicked in, violently yanking me from the hangar and spitting me back out in the lobby. And here's the best part, I still somehow had my weapon drawn. So, for a beautiful fleeting moment, I just appeared out of nowhere, gun smoking, looking like a manic time traveller. And I absolutely terrified some poor upstanding citizen who instantly forgot about it when I put the gun away. Now let's talk about the Grim Hex Armistice zone. It's less of a zone and more of a, suggestion. If you're walking around with a crime stat 3 or higher, the rules change the moment that you step into a hangar. Suddenly, you're not safe in the lobby anymore. Bounty hunters can follow you right into that elevator and hijack it, even if you called it up. You know, I think we can all agree that this system isn't perfect, but criminals do get a big red thing on their screen when they come into land at Grim Hex that says Armistice zone privileges revoked, security notified of your presence, so it's not like they don't get a warning. And to be honest, until Bounty Hunting version 2 comes around, and this is all we've got, what are people meant to do? Because this is literally the most efficient way if your target's in Grim Hex waiting to get their ship back. I'm sorry, mate. So pro tip for all the aspiring space criminals out there is keep your head on a swivel, or better yet, call up a different sized ship and then you get a different hangar to run to. Even better, log out and then back into a different region and then make a quick run for it. Anyway, I'm generally a team player and I'm all for sharing a bounty, and I like seeing other hunters around. It makes the galaxy feel more populated. But this hunter, this absolute credit goblin, decided that a few thousand AUEC was worth more than both of our lives. We were literally sharing an elevator, a tiny cramped box, and instead of cooperating or saying hello, he just decided to put me on ice right there. Guess there's no honour among hunters, just cheap shots in confined spaces. Thanks, mate. Do you fancy reviving me, yeah? My next target was having a real moment at a Daymar security post. Look, I don't know the backstory. Maybe he spilled a security guard's coffee. Maybe he disagreed with their tax policy. Frankly, it's above my pay grade to care. All I know is that if I don't show up and collect this bounty, some other hunter will. So I figure, why not me? I'm efficient, and frankly, I need the credits. He'd apparently turned the entire post into a shooting gallery, taking down a concerning number of the good people of Crusader security. RIP to those brave pixels. The madman had barricaded himself in the server room, probably trying to download his score into a flash drive or something. I didn't waste any time on negotiations. I cooked off a grenade and tossed it in like a metallic Easter egg, and then pushed right in. But the workday wasn't done yet. Another security post was getting the exact same treatment. Same deal. I checked the map to ensure the coast was clear of immediate threats, and then I burst in there like the final end-level boss for the security services themselves. That's my philosophy anyway. I'm just accelerating the inevitable. Whether he died to the security guards or some other vulture, or me, the outcome was always going to be messy. I just make sure I'm the one getting paid for the cleanup. Now normally, I don't bother with bounties tucked away in Armistice zones on major cities, but I happened to be chilling on Microtech when this contract popped up and these two fine gentlemen were practically right next door, and curiosity got the better of me, so I swung by to investigate. So what do you do when you can't actually shoot someone? You get close, you get personal, and you try to be as intimidating as possible with your toy Desperado pistol. Excuse me sir, you are a wanted criminal, if you could please just land the ship. What? They, however, seemed completely unbothered. They just started casually buzzing around the safe zone while other bounty hunters were trying to ram them to death. I don't know what the grand strategy was. Maybe they were waiting for a delivery, maybe they were just enjoying the view, but they were incredibly chill about the whole thing. My plan was admittedly more aggressive. Wait for them to breach the safe zone and then immediately kill the friend to establish dominance and take down the main target. Consequences be damned. But all those careful plans, all that silent, menacing posturing, came to an abrupt, hilarious end. The target, with literally the entire Microtech sky to fly in, just face plants right into the building. No torpedoes, no dogfight, just bam. So the last time I checked, I missed the memo from the Galactic Landscaping Committee. The Onyx facilities do not have a charming little pedestrian gate. You have to request a hangar, land your ship like a civilised human, and then go inside. And I love the Onyx facilities, but they won't let you land there if you're a criminal, which I think is a real shame as they make a really good holdout spot. Apparently, this guy didn't get the memo. He was trying to land his Cutlass Red outside the facility, attempting what I can only assume was a dramatically unnecessary ground insertion. Maybe he was going for a stealth bonus, who knows. I decided to mirror his commitment to subtlety. I kept him untargeted, stayed low, and silently perched my ship overlooking his landing zone, essentially acting like a patient, heavily armed goblin. Figuring he was busy transferring his medical imprint to the ship, I snuck down and played the waiting game right near the cargo ramp, just waiting for him to step out and complete his mission impossible. It's a real shame, friend. Be more careful next time. On the way back to Grim, however, I spotted a bonus target, a little Mustang trying to dogfight. Now, I'm no great pilot, but swoosh, one perfectly placed deadbolt shot later and the ship was confetti. I even put a few extra rounds into the pilot's lifeless body floating in space, just to be thorough. But because this is Star Citizen, the universe had to throw one last punch. The guy still bugged out and he got sent to prison without my contract completing. So I finally made it back to Grimhex, and who should show up? My next target, casually arriving on a massive Idris. But the Idris is apparently a picky ship, and the internal gravity field just grabbed me, and I missed the floor by just a hair, and it launched me back out into space like I was garbage. Then, just to be rude, the ship lurched and killed me instantly. Undeterred, because a little death never hurt anyone, I went back out into EVA. I figured if the front door is locked, I'll just try and get into the hangar like I did before. I was trying to land on the top when the ship decided to launch. The movement caused a catastrophic physics failure and clipped me entirely through the hull and dumped me right into the cargo bay. Now, I was pretty amazed that I hadn't been instantly killed, since getting nudged by a butterfly in EVA usually sends you back to the clinic. But I was in the belly of the beast, thanks to a good old-fashioned glitch. And here's where I had a little moment of honour. I felt it would be incredibly cheap to just run up and frag the guy on the bridge, given my accidental entry. So I decided, screw the bounty, let's just see how this plays out. So, I snuck up to the bridge, and sure enough, it looked like it was just a target up there. To prepare for the inevitable chaos, I quietly visited the medbay and transferred my imprint. That way, if I was discovered and turned into space dust, I could just pop right back in and continue my highly illegal, accidental sightseeing tour. I made it down to the hangar to check for open ships, and that's when all hell broke loose. The hangar doors opened to reveal an enemy Idris, and suddenly the air was thick with laser fire. I was caught in a massive capital ship brawl, lasers screaming all around me. It was terrifying and beautiful at the same time. I sprinted back to the bridge and decided to fully commit to my espionage role, risking sitting down at a console for a front row seat. We had at least 3 Idris going for it. Our ship had 1 brave gunner, and we were taking an absolute pounding. I ducked back into incognito mode and was happy to let this epic space opera unfold. I watched as the 3 ships circled each other, expending as much ordnance as they could fire. So I think there's something to be said about being able to glitch into big ships like this. It just seems like there's a lot of bits of geometry that you can just click through that you really shouldn't be able to. Like, how is it even possible for me to do this? Isn't there like a collision bubble around the entire ship that's supposed to prevent this from happening? One of the crew came back up to the bridge, and I decided to duck away before I got busted. Obviously, while I'm here, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to almost 5,000 subscribers. Honestly, it really means a lot to me that you guys like this kind of content, this kind of emergent PvP content, if you like. I know the game's not really quite there yet, but I'm really hopeful for the future that bounty hunting will be something that sort of flourishes into a proper game loop, and that piracy and criminality and all that kind of stuff will come along after the release of Squadron 42. Maybe that's copium from me or not, I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to say a massive thank you, and if you want to share this video around and like and comment, that'll be massively appreciated. The battle raged on, and our Idris was clearly running for dear life, heading back towards Grim Hex. I desperately wanted to see this battle through, hoping we'd make it to the hangar so that I could get the target right at the end of the battle. But as the huge blast from our pursuers rattled around me, the entire massive ship went up like fireworks. I didn't get the credits, but honestly, it was way cooler watching this battle play out than getting a cheap bounty. Plus, it would have been, in my opinion, totally unearned. I glitched through the ship, you know? Anyway, that's it for this week. If you enjoyed watching me get killed by ship movements and accidental glitch my way into massive space battles, please leave a like and comment. Thanks very much. See you in the next one.